My goodness, my high tunnel's doing really good this year. There's some things I want to talk to you about on my high tunnel though. Things like how the plastic is holding up and how I've built it and how I would have constructed it differently if I knew what I knew now. Or excuse me, what I knew now, what I know now. Yeah. Okay, yeah, if I knew when I started this what I know now, I would have had a little different construction technique. I would have used very much similar materials except for the supporting hoop part. That's the only thing I would have changed. Everything else has worked out great. My garden is beautiful this year and I'm looking forward to getting my tomatoes in the ground so I can get busy growing deliciousness. My tomatoes are one of the things that I use more in cooking throughout the year than anything else, so it becomes my primary crop that I focus on. But there's a lot of other stuff too. I've got lettuce, broccoli, cabbage, spinach, strawberries, onions, and other goodies growing in my gardens right now, and more to come. So let's take a look at the outside real quick. Let me show you what I'm talking about, and then we'll take a look at our plants inside of here, okay? Today I wanted to talk to you about my high tunnel, about my, see it's still holding on fairly good, my high tunnel plastic. If you notice right here, the plastic is broken, it's torn, and it's only in this one spot, just along this side here, a little here, and then some more right down here, okay? So why is it just on this end and that end, not really in the middle here? And not on the other side? What's going on here? Okay, let me explain it. When I built my high tunnel, I did things that maybe I could have done better, okay? In other words, if I have to do this again, and I will, then I'm going to improve the process. I don't want the same design that I've done. I want to go into it with some hoops, get rid of these livestock panels, and use these for a different purpose here on property, but use steel hoops, and that way the plastic pulls down between the hoops properly and gives it the right tension. It matters in how the wind handles it and how hail hits it and a lot of different things. And so this is just what I've learned over the last few years of doing this, and I wanted to pass this knowledge along. This area right here where I have wood, the problem here is that the sunlight's hitting it full on. Sun's coming from the south that direction or a little bit more above here and just hitting this spot dead on. It's heating up these surfaces, these wood surfaces, and those wood surfaces, when they get hotter than the rest of the fabric would be normally, then we see this kind of deterioration. So this is simply heat deterioration. UV radiation isn't bothering it so much because it's protected against that. This type of plastic has a protection built into it that resists UV radiation so that it lasts longer. And it'll usually give 4 to 5 years on average. But then sometimes you have stuff like this happening. Now I've got something to fix this problem, and in fact I've got a couple of somethings. One is going to be white paint, so I can get all of these surfaces that are silver or wood or whatever and get them colored in white so that they're not overheating my plastic. Okay, and that's a very important thing. And the next thing is I purchased some felt tape. It's about the same width as your typical 1.5 inch wide masking tape, and it is white. It's just white felt, and I got that to put across surfaces that are maybe a sharp edge like this one, because that split just above that sharp edge right there, and I'm sure that that's not helping out. So that's what I want to do, is to fix this little issue right here and have a way of fixing it permanently. So the white felt should be used when I put high tunnel hoops on this. I'll be putting some of that felt on there, to pad the plastic from the metal itself, B, the white color in it, it's not as hot. Plain and simple. That's also the reason, if you look up here, I got this. I've always used a black sunscreen, and this year I switched to white and went full length on the high tunnel, where the other one wasn't full length. So this way I get good sun protection in the high tunnel on the really hot days, because this thing can easily hit 120 degrees inside, and I don't need 120 degrees. That's not good for my plants. I need to keep the temperature controlled in there, and so I can grow my plants a little bit better. So I think this white is going to help out a lot this year. All right, so there we have it, and I still have my screen down here. It's doing fine. The overall build has held up really well. Okay, so if you wish to build one this way, it works. Okay, I don't recommend the cattle panels, and I'm about to show you why. It has to do with hail, how the plastic handles hail, and what makes it a little stronger if you don't have these. Okay, otherwise these are perfectly fine. All right, so let's take a look on the other side of the high tunnel. I want to show you the reason I'm wanting hoops instead of cattle panels. All right, over here, this is where we had some hail that hit the cattle panel. And some of these spots where the hail broke through, I went ahead and covered with tape. Here's some tape, here's some. There's a couple of different places I've got tape. Here's a little spot with some tape. It looks like it tore through right there. So it got hit by more hail maybe, I don't know. I've got a dent here and here, here. All of these little white dents, these were from the hail. Now the places that the hail did not break through this were where those dents were closer in the middle. Almost all of the places the hail did break through was right on the edge of the wire, right there. This one down here, right on the edge of the wire. This one right here, right on the edge of that wire. And so all of the ones, like I said, that broke through did it because of that. Those that had a little more flex in the fabric, well, the fabric got dented like this. It's damaged, but it's not broken through, all right? And that's the reason I'm saying I don't like this, because there's too many places where hail can break through because this plastic is close to a support. Now, if I had a support there, just a hoop, and another one here, everything in between, the fabric would have a lot more play and give in it when hail hits it, and a lot less chance for that hail to break through. This was some sizable hail. This was about 1/4 inch in diameter, up to maybe ping pong ball sized. So it really held out well for that. But this is also the 6 mil thick plastic. They do make thicker. You can get like 8 mil, I've seen. I think I've seen 10 mil also. Very thick stuff. They're also rather expensive. They also have plastic that has string running through it that helps to resist hail if you have issues of that nature that happen often. So there are your solutions. When it comes to the plastic, hoops are better than cattle panels. When it comes to plastic, make sure that you have all bare surfaces that the plastic touches covered with some white felt. Kind of hard to do that on all this wire, but on the wider areas, yeah, you can cover that in felt. Over here, I don't have any of that deterioration happening along this wood. Why? This is the north-facing side. So as a result, we're not getting the kind of problems with overheating right here, because the sun isn't hitting it directly. It's coming down this way rather than coming in this way. You know, difference in the way the sun's heating it and hitting it. Plus all of my plants along this side, which this whole side gets covered in plants, helps to keep things cool over here. In addition, I've also installed a misting system inside of the high tunnel. I'll tell you what, before this is over, let's take a quick look inside so you can see what the high tunnel looks like before I plant my tomatoes. I rolled my tomatoes out just a little bit ago so they can get some sunshine. Let's take a look inside. Talk about sunshine. Here it comes. Okie dokie. Well, now you can see the inside of the high tunnel. This is after overwintering. Okay, I have some spinach growing down here in the foreground. You can see right next to my shadow there. This is the spinach right here, and over this way I have some cole plants that are, you know, your broccoli is what I have growing there, and one of them if you can see the yellow flowers, that has bolted, okay? And that's from going from 0 degrees to 95 degrees in one day, okay? That causes plants to weird out. In the background there, you'll see some nice light green plants growing and some darker plants and then some purple ones that have shot up high. Well, that's all lettuce. The purple lettuce there, that's Cherokee, and it has bolted. So that's not too unusual for Cherokee lettuce to bolt if it goes from, again, 0 degrees to that nice hot 100-degree day. And that's not that unusual around here, folks. So what I'm going to end up doing here, I'm going to pull these out. In fact, all of this lettuce has to go away because I have to till this. I'm about to put my tomatoes in. You'd say, but you're going to get rid of your lettuce plants. No, no, no. I've got fresh lettuce coming up over here. It's already germinated. It's starting to sprout. So I've got lettuce growing, folks. This lettuce right here, I'm going to collect it. I'm going to clean it, bag it up so I can use it for my salads and other things. I'll probably do some tacos and stuff like that. And I'm going to have plenty of lettuce for that. And I'm not paying anything for lettuce so far this year. It's all because these plants have been giving me everything I need. And I've already collected a lot of leaves from all of these. All right, so that's what I do is I just come out and pluck leaves, the amount that I need for the meal, and then leave the plant in the ground, let it grow. These that bolt, they get kind of bitter. So I don't like to collect leaves from them at this point. And I'm not going to allow them to develop full seeds. The reason this lettuce is growing is because last year I let the lettuce go to seed for the purpose of collecting seed. So I would have fresh seed to plant. Some of the seed hit the ground, and this is the lettuce that grew from that. This is just wild lettuce. Imagine if you had weeds that you can eat. That's what I have, okay? Now, oh, that hurts. Around the edges, I've got garlic growing, as I always do. These cages, I bought extra cages this year because I want all of my tomatoes in cages. So what I've got here are, let's see, there's 6 in each of these center pots, and then another 6 running across the back wall there. So I've got a total of 18 tomato cages in here. We're going to be doing 18 tomatoes, all right? And I'm going to be doing pairs, like 2 of one kind, 2 of another kind, 2 of a third kind. And it is to see which tomatoes, which varieties do best in this area and in this high tunnel with my growing techniques. Okay, so that's how I'm going to pick the tomatoes I'll be using going into the future. That's the whole idea, is better production. This year production seems to be very important. So I'm going to be working hard at producing as much of my own food as absolutely possible. Well, here's our high tunnel. Strawberries doing good back here. All of my asparagus has died off, so I'm going to have to replant my asparagus corner and start from scratch on that. So that means this little space back here, it's going to be a couple of years before it's producing anything again. All right, and it shouldn't be a problem now that I have drip irrigation in here. I also have misters in here to control temperature, so now I don't have to run a fan. It's just a little lower cost, a little more practical, a little healthier for the plants. It also feels good when you're in here working and those misters are on. The plastic throughout the rest of my high tunnel has held up really well over the years. I'm really pleased with it. Because I was afraid of the cost of tariffs and other problems, I went ahead and ordered my high tunnel plastic for the future. I ordered it now so I could get it at a reasonable price. It's sitting in a box in my shop, and it'll stay there until I have to replace this. And I'm not going to replace it until I have to replace it. Repairs will be made in the interim. So I've got special tape that's designed for high tunnels. That's what I'm going to repair these edges with. And then this is going to get tomatoes planted ASAP. So that means I got to harvest some spinach, harvest a whole bunch of lettuce, clean up the weeds, till the ground, and plant the tomatoes. That's the organized method of doing that. My broccoli is heading up. I've got some beautiful heads on my broccoli down here. This guy, lovely little heads. A couple more plants over there, and I've got flowers going on down here on my chives. Let's take a look at all this stuff up close so you know what's going on. There's a few little holes in leaves, and that's because I'm getting some bugs eating on things. And that's insect pressure is what we call that. And I will be dealing with that, just spraying everything liberally with the things that I have that work. And I'm using more organic items this year. We'll get into that in another video. Let's take a look. So here we see, got some broccoli heading here, nice head of broccoli there, one here. And once these heads are cut off, this plant will still produce broccoli. It'll just be smaller florets and be multiples. So keep them growing after you cut the main head off. This one that bolted, it will do me no good. So there's no sense in it being here. I'm taking it out now. Now if I was wanting seeds, I would go and let this just go ahead and finish producing its seeds. And then I would have plenty of broccoli seeds. That's the best way in the world of getting your own seeds, folks. Just let the plant provide. All right, and here, my beautiful chives, all producing some lovely seed. Now I have collected seed from chives before, but I'll say this. Once you get chives established, that patch should grow for many, many years, okay? This is a plant that you're going to see in your garden. Once it's planted, it's just there. Unless something kills it, like, you know, extreme cold or whatever. But most of the time, even cold will not hurt chives. It's you know, they're related to onions, and onions handle cold very well. Here we have some more broccoli, a little head coming along. And over here on this plant, the same thing, more broccoli. And so this patch right here can just stay as it is. I might put in some lettuce in strategic spots, but that's that. We have a few weeds, it's not bad. I wanted you to also see this lettuce and to know just how beautiful and thick it is. This is right here. This is Muir. Right next to it right here, this is Fusion. So the darker green is Fusion. This produces a beautiful, thick Savoy leaf. And Savoy just means it's kind of ripply or lumpy, like this. Beautiful little leaves, they're firm, and they have fantastic flavor, folks. This lettuce is my favorite overall. This one's my second favorite. The Cherokee's my third favorite, and all three of these do well in very hot conditions. So if you're in a place where you have a hard time growing lettuce because it's just too hot, well, ladies and gentlemen, get yourself these three: Muir, Cherokee, and Fusion. Okay, Fusion is the dark green, Cherokee, or the Muir is the light green, and the Cherokee is the purple one. Okay, and again, this is just all, none of this was planted. This is just seeds that came up wild. There we go. I wanted you to look at that real close and to know what that looks like. It's a good firm lettuce. It has the qualities of both a green leaf lettuce as well as a romaine, because it's a cross between the two. And it's possibly the most practical little lettuce that I've ever found. I love this stuff. I only had one cabbage come up this year, and I don't know if it's even going to head. It's trying to start. The thing has gotten rather large, so I'm not so good at growing cabbage. I'm doing my best, but you know, 1 out of 6 planted ain't so hot. So I want to try some different varieties other than the ones that I have, because these aren't cutting it. And then my on the far end down there in your upper right hand corner of the screen, those darker leaves, that's all strawberries, folks. All these guys right here, well, except for a few weeds like that one there, these are all strawberries over here. And by the way, when it comes to taking care of weeds, this is how you do it, folks. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe I've got fresh strawberries down here. Would you look at that? Oh. Oh, delicious. What a treat for me today. Well, that's about everything I have to say for my high tunnel. My delicious strawberries. Oh man. Nothing like fresh homegrown. Nothing in the world like it. Ladies and gentlemen, plant some plants, put some seeds in the ground, enjoy life. This didn't start as a high tunnel. It just started as a chunk of ground full of weeds and grass that I dug up and started planting in. And slowly it has evolved into this. All right? I didn't do it all in 1 year. I did it over several years. A little bit here, a little bit there, building it up. And it still grows. Each year I just add to it. Thank you for watching. Please check out Texas Cooking Today, my wonderful recipes. There's some good stuff that I use these vegetables in, and you're going to like what I cook. All right, so try that out. Please subscribe, hit that like button. Don't forget to drop some comments down below. I love your comments. And folks, please have a good day. Bye-bye.